Towns in our region are involved in a fierce battle to become the country's newest city. An announcement on the winner will be made later this year.
All six have worthy claims for city status, but only one can emerge triumphant.
Luton, Reading, Southwark and Croydon are all in the running.
So are Guildford in Surrey and Southend in Essex.
Guildford, with its cathedral, is one of the front runners according to the bookies.
Southend, with its pier, is rated an outsider. Both are convinced they deserve city status.
Guildford has a population of 126,000.
Southend, 176,000.
But Guildford has a castle, a modern cathedral and the University of Surrey.
Southend boasts a pier, 7 miles of coastline and more restaurants per square mile than any other town in the country.
But Guildford tops the South East Retail Super League outside London.
Southend earns £60 million a year from tourism.
Guildford heads the nation's league of gout sufferers.
Southend cooks 100 tons of cockles a day.
So it's my gout versus your cockles, Mrs. Right, OK. Now, the Millennium City competition is actually being run by the Home Office, but it is Her Majesty the Queen who will confer city status on the advice of her ministers.
The bookies make Guildford 11-2 to become a city. Southend, I'm afraid, is a distant 33-1. Paul Larsman now weighs up their respective merits.
Guildford in Surrey.
Surrey doesn't have a city. I think Surrey ought to have a city, and that was why we applied.
Southend in Essex.
We don't have a city in Essex, and we feel that we ought to be that city.
So tell me about the
Guildford.
It was here in the 13th century that the Sheriff of Surrey held his meetings, his courts and so forth, which he held as the King's representative for the county.
Southend.
Southend's a sunny place. You've got a bit of sunshine out they come. I think we are, according to the weather people, the driest place in the whole country.
Guildford.
Don't know Guildford, but no contest.
Southend.
If you like fish and chips and tied handkerchiefs. And, no, I don't think so. They ain't got a cathedral, have they?
Most people's minds, there's a strong link between being a city and having a cathedral. Of course, strictly speaking, that's not true. There are several cathedral towns in England that aren't cities. There are several cities that don't have cathedrals. But there is a neat link between the two.
It is the world's longest pleasure pier. We do have 400,000 visitors every year to the pier itself and 3 million visitors to Southend. So obviously it is a very important part of the visitor experience to Southend and obviously very important in our city status.
You get absolutely no additional powers or functions whatsoever if you're a city, so why bother?
Well, it's not about getting more money or getting more grants, that sort of thing.
Well, I hope we would bring in more employment.
Inward investment.
Foreign investment comes to places if you've got city after your name.
Whether that's the city of Guildford or the city of Southend-on-Sea. This is Paul Larsman for London Tonight.
The tension builds.
Are you any clearer on how it can be a city
Make
with
them all cities.
I understand. All cities, they're all wonderful, especially Guildford and Southend.